If you are interested in knowing how much you can make every month from reselling goods that you find at thrift stores, yard sales, garage sales, you name it, no arbitrage, no wholesale, no liquidation, we are going to break down full-time reseller numbers in this video. Stay tuned.
Howdy there, how's it going? My name is Edin, this is my beautiful wife Melinda, and today we are here to show you exactly how much money we made reselling on platforms like eBay, Facebook, Poshmark, and just a tiny bit on Etsy.
An itsy bit on Etsy.
Itsy bits.
If you're new to our channel, we are full-time resellers. We sell on all those platforms that Edin mentioned. We spend about 3 full days a week working, processing, thrifting. On the other 2 days, we're home with our daughter and we do fit in work where we can. But these numbers are based mostly just off working a full-time job 3 days a week.
Yeah, and there are definitely days where we work more, less. That's the beauty and that's the great part about being your own boss. So if you're thinking about doing this yourself, these are realistic numbers. These items are not from retail arbitrage. They're not from Amazon. They're not anything special. You don't need any specific training or skills to do this. It's literally look it up, sell it online, find it at your thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, etc.
That's right. And in these types of videos, besides going over everything that we sold in our number, we also break down what that number means and to end at what we actually take home at the end of the day.
Yeah, and don't be fooled. There's many people that'll show you, or tell you like, oh man, I make a killing. If you watch any of our content, this is transparent. This is the real deal. This is the actual numbers, what you can expect. You do need to put in some work. There is definitely a learning curve. We've been at this now for almost 2 years. We started part-time to pay off the house. We paid all of our debts off and we just became full-time starting in April. So April and May, those are our first 2 full-time, professional months, meaning this is how we make a living. And if everyone tells you they're a pro at something, that usually means they're making a living. So we are professional resellers.
Yeah. So let's show you what our numbers were last month. For this month's sales video, we are doing a little bit of a different setup. We brought back the whiteboard and we've broken it down by our normal categories, but to give some perspective and a little bit more of a glance than just this was last month, maybe it's a fluke. We did our average numbers so far for the whole year of 2021. We also put in last month's numbers so you can see how we're doing on a month-to-month basis as well. So that being said, our number of sales on average per month so far has been 275. April was a great month, very strong, above average, 288 sales. Now for May, if you remember, we did have some slower weekends. We had 2 pretty slow sales weekends in a row, and that is reflected in our number of sales. In May, we only sold 270 items. Uh-oh, guys. Uh-oh, not looking good. The next number is gross. So if this is one of your first numbers videos, gross is just the total amount of everything sold. We run off a free shipping model. Gross does include all payments received. So that includes shipping as well. Nothing is taken out of your gross sales. So our average per month so far has been 14,546. We're very happy with that number. When we started the year, we were shooting for 10 to 15. In April, it was 15,226. We had a good amount of months there with 15,000 in a row. For May, our gross sales were 16,459. Didn't see that coming, did ya? So that is our best performing month to date. And like I said, it seemed very slow. Usually on weekends we get a bigger bump, but obviously we were still having very strong weekday sales. It makes a lot of sense when you think about when people are in front of their computers and on their phones. It's more during the week in the summer. Weekends, people are, especially now, people haven't been out going to festivals, they haven't been out getting together, and they're doing a lot more of that, especially this summer. So that just makes sense. I'm going to turn it over to Professor Adine next, and he's going to cover the next couple categories.
Melinda is not standing on a stool, it's just that I'm a monster. I'm going to cover the next three, the shipping fees and cost of goods, which obviously you have to take into account. At the end of the year, you're going to be paying taxes on your net profits, regardless if it's cash transactions, if it's Etsy, if it's eBay, regardless if they sent you a tax form, you have to pay taxes on your net profit. If you want the easiest, simplest way to keep track of all of your sales on Mercari, Poshmark, Etsy, whatever platform you want, go down below, check the link. We created the best spreadsheet for you. It's $50 and it's going to take care of the rest of the year, and you can backfill it for the first 6 months so that you're confident moving forward when it comes to taxes and you know exactly how much money you're making. Down below, click it. There's also videos you can watch on it. And shameless plug here. So let's talk about the next couple of categories. Like Mona mentioned, we run a free shipping model on eBay. We have a mixed model on the other platforms, but on Etsy, eBay, it's free shipping. On Facebook Marketplace, we do a little bit of both. And on Poshmark, they pay for shipping most of the time. We paid $2,103 on average per month in 2021. April was slightly higher at $2,222. And in May, we paid $2,391, which is a little bit higher. We had some bigger, bulkier items. It's fine. Relative to the actual gross amount, it's pretty normal. So we sold almost $1,200 more than last month, and we only paid about $170 more in shipping. So that, to me, that makes sense. Next up are the fees. Now remember, different platforms have different fees. We average ours to about 14%. eBay has a wide spectrum of fees based off of category and seller level. If you have a storefront, etc. Facebook is 5%, Etsy is 5%, Poshmark is 20%. So on average per month, we pay $1,710 in fees, which again is just the cost of doing business. April, we're pretty close, $1,730. And in May, we paid $1,794. So again, it makes sense. We sold more. Naturally, we're going to pay a little bit more in fees. Not really much to say about it. We've said this before. We'll say it one more time, and we'll probably say it every single time. If you're upset about fees, then this is not for you, right? There's other ways to sell. You can go open up a store. You can be a vendor at a flea market. You can sell locally only on Facebook if you don't want to pay fees, but you're missing out on millions of potential customers. So this is just the entry cost. And if you think that it's cheaper to run your own online store, best wishes, it's not. So it's just what you have to pay to get your items in front of the customers. The next one is the cost of goods sold. So how much money did we actually spend before we can flip that into a profit? You can see on average, we sell roughly $2,500 a month of inventory. In April, we did $2,758. And in May, we did $2,821. So a little bit more spent on the inventory, but again, we sold $1,200 more and we spent only about $80 more on our actual inventory. So far, so good, in my opinion, as far as all of our numbers. You can see that we've sold less this month, less than average, less than last month, but we're doing pretty well as far as all of the other metrics that we keep account on. And remember, you're getting taxed on net profit, not on gross, so you have to keep track of your data somehow. Back to Melinda, and she's gonna tell you two very important numbers, the net profit and the net adjusted profit, and we'll go from there.
Like Adine said, these last two numbers are the most important. I'm gonna cover the net profit and then the net adjusted profit. If you already know this, if you've already watched some of our videos, or you just know it naturally, then this is gonna be repeat information for you, but your net is your gross minus all of your expenses. You may have already figured it out taking our gross and then subtracting these numbers already. That's just exactly what we're gonna do now. The awesome thing about this spreadsheet is that it does all of that for you. You just have to plug in your sales as you make them, select your fees in your platform. It creates these tables for you where you can see it month by month and then a year-end summary as well. It's very, very easy from the spreadsheet. So our average net, which means what we have left after we subtract everything out, has been just above 8,000, 82.37. Last month in April is a little bit higher with 85.15. And then in May, after we take out all our expenses, meaning we're subtracting the shipping, the fees, the cost of goods, all of that, we were left with $9,451. So even though we had less sales, we obviously sold those at higher margins to have almost $1,000 more left over this month than we did the month before. That's great. That's an ideal situation. Selling less and making more, we are doing something right with these numbers. Now, net adjusted, this takes into account anything like damage, returns. We had a couple returns this month. We usually run about 2% on average returns, and that's perfectly normal. They are a part of selling anything. Whether you have a storefront or you're strictly online, it's going to happen. No big deal. So, with that being said, our average net adjusted has been just over 8,048. In April, we had 8,373 after our returns. And this month, it took about $40. We had $9,411 for our net adjusted profit. Obviously, again, very happy with these numbers. Now, as I said, that 9,411 is what's left over. That does not include any taxes that we took out. You have to figure out what you need to set aside from this number. Consult a CPA, a tax professional, figure that out, and then set that aside. And of course, that's going to vary household to household. Your marital status, how many children you have, dependents, is your spouse working a traditional job or not working a traditional job? Are you both doing reselling? How much are you selling every month? So obviously a lot to consider there, but make sure you do set it aside, and you usually want to pay in quarterly. Again, talk to a tax professional. That's what we do. We send in a check every 3 months to the IRS, which means we don't have to send a huge check at the end. And then you also have to figure out how much you want to put back into your business as well, because that approximately $2,000 to $3,000 that we spend on inventory, that will come out of this as well. So whatever you pay yourself, if it's the full 9,411, you're going to need another source of income to go buy your goods from. So keep that in mind. That number isn't, okay, now I have 9,000, I can take an awesome vacation and party up. There's things that do come out of that, but those are dependent on your specific situation.
And just like that, that's it. Simple, to the point, honest, transparent. This is what you can expect to make. Now, like I mentioned, there's a learning curve. You're not going to just start today and the next thing you know, you have 10 grand in net profit per month. You could, maybe you're exceptionally good at this. I don't know. But in general, there's a little bit of a learning curve at what sells, what doesn't, what platforms, etc.
And also just building your listings up too. That is a big part of reselling. You will start having more sales the more items you have available in your store.
It's only natural. Typically, you're going to sell, if you're doing most things right, you should be selling about 1% of your inventory. That's what we've done. We've been keeping track on our spreadsheet since day one, almost 2 years of data. It tells us that we typically sell 1% of our inventory, which per day, which basically, if you have 1,000 listings, you should be selling between 8 and 12 items per day. Some days we sell 2, some days we sell 19, but on average, it's about that 10 a day if we have 1,000 listings.
Yeah, like we mentioned, we're very happy with those numbers. It's our best month yet. We are actually expecting lower numbers in June, and we'll do a separate video on it, but we do just have a lot of changes and a lot of growth that we're pushing for in June, and that just kind of takes away from the day-to-day processing and things like that. But there's a lot of cool things coming. We are looking more into liquidation and wholesale. We are rearranging things in our workspace. We are looking into getting virtual assistants. So there's a lot of exciting things on the agenda that may slow us down for a month, maybe even 2 months, but in the long term, we are really expecting big payoffs from that.
And this is what defines the difference between people and businesses, is taking a break from what's working. We know we can sell 15,000. We know we can bring home about 8,000 net per month. We've done this, right? It's not a fluke. This is something that we can repeat, but we have a lot bigger aspirations with what we're working on. We need to start figuring out how to hire, how to scale. That's the big difference, is taking that leap of faith, taking that next risk. The biggest risks that we took so far, we quit our jobs, right? We've proven that we can do this and sustain this lifestyle, and we can do this for a very long time. The next risk is scaling.
That's right. So taking all of those changes into account, we're going to be able to bounce back. We have savings. We're not worried about dipping down a month or 2 months. We're going to be fine. We've obviously shown that even in slow months, we can still perform very well. So we are very excited to scale our business, and we're going to be bringing more content around that as well.
Yeah, stay tuned. We'll see you guys in the next one. And of course, as always, take care and thanks for watching.